نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا ومولانا محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم رسوله النبي الأمين المكين الحنين الكريم الرؤوف الرحيم. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال الله تعالى في شأن حبيبه إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما تحب وترضى أن تصلي عليه. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إذ تستغيثون ربكم فاستجاب لكم أني ممدكم ب1000 من الملائكة مردفين. وقال تعالى ولقد نصركم الله ببدر وأنتم أذلة فاتقوا الله لعلكم تشكرون. صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك لمن الشاكرين الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Most respected ulama, my respected elders, brothers and sisters of Islam, As-S.A.W. alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. We are on the second part of the series that I have commenced with, which is based around the concept of power and the positive dimensions of power, related obviously to Laylatul Qadr, the night of destiny and the night of power, and also related to some of the very historical events which took place during the holy month of Ramadan al-Mubarak. Last week, I had touched on the topic of the conquest of Makkah al-Mukarramah, which commenced from the 10th of Ramadan al-Mubarak, where the Holy Prophet ﷺ left Al-Madinah al-Munawwara, and then by the 20th of Ramadan al-Mubarak, according to the major historical sources, the Holy Prophet ﷺ conquered the holy city of Makkah al-Mukarramah. And we discussed the concept of the power of peace, primarily from the perspective wherein there is so much of power in being able to forgive, how much of power there is in having mercy. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ exemplified this during the conquest of Makkah. And the unfortunate lesson that we continue to learn from the conquest of Makkah, right? We continue not to learn from the conquest of Makkah, is that we Muslims may win the battle. Muslims generally will win the battle, but we always lose the peace. That's the problem. Okay? Today's discussion, inshallah ta'ala, focus on the second dimension of power, second positive dimension of power, and that is the power of prayer, or the power of dua. And there is no greater example of the sheer undiluted strength and power of dua to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than this significant event which took place on Friday, the closest day that it is that I can find today. Today is the 16th according to our Islamic calendar in South Africa. Right? Friday the 17th of Ramadan al-Mubarak, the Ghazwa of Badr, the battle of Badr. It makes my hair stand, Allah, it makes my hair stand. We have no idea about the power of prayer and the impact that dua makes when it is done with a heart which is restless, which is anxious, which is completely devoted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, completely trusting in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you ever want to experience the power of dua, experience it through the Holy Prophet Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in those moments when he was making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And wallahi, in my opinion, it was only the dua of the Holy Prophet Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His infinite mercy accepted, that was the cause of the success of Badr. Everything else was by virtue of the dua, or of those du'as rather. Right? I'm going to give you some of the brief history and some of the lessons of Badr. I don't want to discuss Badr because our theme is the power of dua and the power of prayer. It is narrated in books of Siyar that on Friday, Yawm al-Jum'ah, on the 17th of Ramadan al-Mubarak, an army comprising between 304 to 319 maximum Muslims were facing off against an army armed to the teeth of the Quraysh of 1,000 plus. And at the dawn, just after dawn, on Yawm al-Jum'ah, the Quraysh tribe and the kuffar of Makkah, who came to meet the Muslim army in the second year of Hijrah, exactly plus minus 1434 years ago. Can you imagine the condition that the people of Medina and the believers are plus minus 304 to 319 in number, right? And between these 300 and plus people, there's only 70 camels, and there were only a few horses. One narration even says there was only one horse. And in order for them to march, they marched from Al-Madinah to Munawwara to Badr. And if anyone has traveled that road, you will know it's plus minus 180 plus minus kilometers. Right? Each one was given an opportunity to sit on a camel for a period of time. But in the longest marathon in history that I know of 180 kilometers, Muslims marched from Medina all the way to Badr, sharing camels, sharing food to a point wherein they were breaking their roza. In a state of siyam, they were breaking the roza by sharing a date between 2 or 3 people. In that condition of starvation, with paucity of means, but with richness of heart and richness of iman, they come to Badr. And in the dawn of Yawm al-Jum'ah, the Quraysh and the Kuffar climbed the mountain of Aqanqa. And the Holy Prophet Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam sees this army, which is armed to the teeth, arrogant, proud, with their tribalism, right? And sure of themselves that they will gain victory over this little small army that they can see is not of any significance. Right? The Holy Prophet ﷺ sees this army of 1,000, and he looks at them, and then he goes to one corner, and the Holy Prophet ﷺ picks up his hands, and he makes his dua. He says, Allahumma hadihi Quraysh قد أقبلت بخيلائها وفخرها تحادك وتكذب رسولك. He said, Ya Rasulullah, say, Ya Allah, there is the Quraysh who have come there to meet you with all their pride and with all their arrogance, to fight against you and to belie your Prophet. And he said, Allahumma فَنَصْرُكَ الَّذِي وَعَدْتَنِي. Ya Allah, grant us the victory that you have promised me. He said, Allahumma ahinhum al-ghada. Ya Allah, grant them and destroy these people this morning. The Holy Prophet Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam makes this dua on one side. But let me tell you about the observation of the kuffar who sent 2 spies. One of them being a diviner. He was known as a bit of a diviner, like a prophet. He could see things and whatever it is. And they said, the kuffar told him, go and spy on the Muslim army. He goes and he spies on the Muslim army. And the next one who goes there also spies on the Muslim army. So they ask him, what do you see? You know what the man said? He says, I see dead people on camels. Meaning they're not dead. But he says, what he's saying, that he said, I see people who have already prepared themselves for the fact that they are going to die. How do you instill fear into people who reconcile themselves with the fact that they're going to die? How do you reconcile? You can't put fear into them. He says, I see people out there, right, who know that they are not going to return. And I see people out there who are so determined that for every life of theirs that you take, they will make sure that they will take one of your lives. And he says, I see people with such steely resolve that I can't explain this reality to you. Imagine that situation. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is facing off against the people who tormented him for 13 years. Members of his family are against him. The members of his family are standing up against him. People that he's loved and he's lived with all his life are standing there and are jeering at him. Abu Jahl, Utbah, all of them intoxicated by their arrogance, particularly Abu Jahl. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ finds himself in this situation here. And the Holy Prophet Muhammad Rasulullah ﷺ then went, and a small arish had been built for him. They made it out of date palms or whatever it is there. And it was like an arish, it was like a cover, like a bit of a shelter, was placed for the Holy Prophet ﷺ. And the Holy Prophet Muhammad Rasulullah ﷺ, right, went over. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ went into the arish, and he went and sat down there. When he goes and he sits down, right, the Holy Prophet Muhammad Rasulullah ﷺ makes a specific dua. And when he stands there and he makes that specific dua, there is no one there with him. He only had one companion with him. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ goes down, and within that arish that was built for him, there was a bit of like a dip. And in that dip, The Holy Prophet Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam placed his head down in sajda. And when he goes into sajda, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam goes into sajda and he makes a dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, Allahumma in tuhlik hadhi al-isaba la tu'bad ba'daha fil ard. He said, Ya Allah, if this group of people, if this army of ours today is destroyed, then there will be no one on the face of this earth who will ever worship you again. You know, literally, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in inverted commas is issuing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with an ultimatum, with utmost respect. But he's issuing Allah when he said, Allahumma innaka in tuhlika hadhihi al-isaba la tu'bad ba'daha fil ard. He said, no one will be on the face of this earth who will worship you. He said, Allahumma anjizli ma wa'atani. He said, Ya Allah, fulfill the promise that you've made to me. Right? Allahumma nasruk. Oh my Lord, give me your help. And the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is making this dua with such humility that the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had a cloak on his body. And the way he's making dua in sajda and his hands are up there, in that condition the Holy Prophet Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is making dua, Allahumma nasruk, Allahumma nasruk, and his jubbah falls off or his cloak falls off. When his cloak falls off, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala who was standing there at his personal guard can't take it anymore, because he'd been seeing the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam constantly in sujood, constantly making dua at every single point. He can't take this anymore. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu rushes to the Holy Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam and takes the cloak and he places it on the back of the Prophet, and from behind he holds the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He holds the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, Ya Rasulullah, Ya Rasulullah, ba'da munashidatik rabbuk fa innahu sayinjiduka ma wa'adak. He said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah has heard you, O Prophet of Allah. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq couldn't take this trauma and this pain and this anxiety that Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reading. He said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, stop it, enough. I guarantee you Allah will listen to your dua. And Allah will fulfill His promise that He's made to you. The Holy Prophet ﷺ is still in this condition, and his companion in the cave is also his companion in the Arish, and again his companion in the cave. The Prophet of Allah consoled Abu Bakr Siddiq in the cave. Today Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala is consoling the Holy Prophet ﷺ in the Arish, and he said, O Prophet of Allah, Allah will not forsake you today. Right? The Holy Prophet ﷺ was in that state where for a period of time the Holy Prophet ﷺ, what we call, went into a state of slumber, in a meditative, altered state of consciousness. And in that condition, the Holy Prophet ﷺ, his sadness, his anxiety, his pain, his sorrow is all removed. And the Holy Prophet Muhammad Rasulullah ﷺ says, Abshir ya Abu Bakr. He begins to smile all of a sudden. He said, Ya Abshir ya Abu Bakr, Ataka Rasulullah. The help of Allah has come. What happens? The Holy Prophet ﷺ sees the heavens open, and he sees Jibreel Amin between the heavens and the earth. Jibreel Amin alayhi salatu wasalam is on a horse. He's wearing a yellow turban. He's wearing a yellow turban. And he's between the heavens and the earth. Right? And Jibreel Amin alayhi salatu wasalam is there. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, for a moment Jibreel Amin disappeared from my sight. Meaning, he was moving from heavens down to earth. He disappeared from my sight for a moment. And the next moment I see him on the ground. And when I see him on the ground there, I see that his horse has now dust on its hooves, which means he's landed on planet Earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this entire incident I'm relating to you, I want to give you a background. Now I want you to savor those moments, what the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam experienced, and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loved it, and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responded to it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, إِسْتَسْتَغِيثُونَ رَبَّكُمْ فَاسْتَجَابَ لَكُمْ أَنِّي مُمِدُّكُمْ بِأَلْفٍ مِّنَ الْمَلَائِكَةِ مُرْدِفِينَ. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, when you are calling your Lord for help, إِسْتَسْتَغِيثُونَ, with humility, with utmost reliance in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, إِسْتَسْتَغِيثُونَ, not only you, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, all the Sahaba kiram, فَاسْتَجَابَ لَكُمْ, and your Lord responded, أَنِّي مُمِدُّكُمْ بِأَلْفٍ مِّنَ الْمَلَائِكَةِ مُرْدِفُونَ, that I am going to support you with 1,000 angels. And he sends Jibreel Amin alayhi salatu wasalam. Ask yourself a question. Jibreel Amin alayhi salatu wasalam was sufficient to destroy nations. Why did he send Jibreel with 1,000 angels? Why did he send Jibreel بِثَلَاثَةِ آلَافٍ مِّنَ الْمَلَائِكَةِ مُنْزَلِينَ? Why did he send Jibreel with 3,000 angels? Who fought the battle. The battle was fought by the Muslims, by the believers, by the human beings. Why are the malaika there? Look how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responded. First Allah said, oh my beloved, let me tell you how I responded in Badr. My first response was to you. My first response was to every dua that you made. My first response was to the fact that I will hearken to every call you make. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا جَعَلَهُ اللَّهُ إِلَّا بُشْرًا وَلِتَطْمَئِنَّ بِهِ قُلُوبُكُمْ. And Allah has made the promise surely to give you a good news so that your hearts may be at rest thereby. To give tasqeen to the heart of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, first contentment and peace, and then to the believers after that. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do? The help of Allah had already commenced. Allah started off with the pinnacle of Allah's acceptance, which was the dua of Rasulullah with Jibreel descending. But the help of Allah started way before that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِذْ يُغَشِّيكُمُ النُّعَاسَ أَمَنَةً مِّنْ. When He covered you with drowsiness, as tranquility descending from Him. What happened? At night, when the Prophet of Allah was busy engaging in dua, when the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was busy engaging in nawafil salah, when the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam kept on weeping the entire night, meaning Thursday night, Friday morning, right, was engaging in dua, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put the rest of the army of Islam to sleep. And Allah placed on them such a sleep. You know the sleep that you get there, literally, when you have no fears, when you have no tension. You know, it's a restful sleep. Peaceful sleep, when you don't know when you went off to sleep and you don't know when you got up. You don't know what happened in between. That is nu'as. That degree of tranquility, a comfortable sleep. What is this? This is the first sign of the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down rain, because there was only one area for water, and by that time the kuffar had already drank the water. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down rain, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and remove from you rijaz ash-shaytan وَلِيَرْبِطَ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِكُمْ. While they were asleep, Allah sent down rain. He gave them the tranquility of sleep. He gave them the tranquility of rain to purify them. Then He gives them the tranquility of heart, that when they wake up in the morning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has strengthened their hearts. And He has strengthened the hearts of the believers, and at the same time there were the kuffar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says there, وَيُثَبِّتَ بِهِ الْأَقْدَامِ. And He strengthened and gave them a firm foothold. And what did He put? He put rahbah, and He put fear into the hearts of the kuffar. You know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said? He said, when the Prophet of Allah made this dua, and Jibreel Ameen readied himself with 1,000 and up to 3,000 angels to come down and assist the Muslim army. You know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Holy Quran? إِذْ يُوحِي رَبُّكَ إِلَى الْمَلَائِكَةِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when your Lord revealed to the angels, إِذْ يُوحِي رَبُّكَ إِلَى الْمَلَائِكَةِ أَنِّي مَعَكُمْ. Allah said to the malaika, I am with you. He says to the malaika who's going down to help the believers, I am with you. أَنِّي مَعَكُمْ فَثَبِّتُوا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, so make firm the feet of those who believe. What more would you want? What more would you want when Allah said, I send down revelation, wahi to malaika, that I am with you. Allah is everywhere. But my help, my mercy, my special favor is with you. Now, what you do is you transfer that mercy, that ma'iyah of mine, and that love of mine, and that favor of mine, and that help of mine, transfer it quantumly to the believers who are out there on the battlefield. And tell them never to lose hope in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أَنِّي مَعَكُمْ فَثَبِّتُوا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. You know, the Holy Prophet Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam gave a khutbah on the battlefield. Right? He gave this khutbah. I don't have the time, unfortunately, to read out the entire khutbah to you. But the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam gave this khutbah. And I just want to give you a few excerpts from the khutbah of the Holy Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam is a general right now. But he always maintains the mantle of prophethood. Right? And for a prophet, in any situation, even in a situation of war, the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam didn't go out there and work up the believers to go and kill, to go and murder, to go and maim, to go and destroy, to go and cause pain and inflict pain and punishment on the disbelievers. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he made his khutbah to the believers on the day of Badr, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Amma ba'd, fa inni ahithukum ala ma hathakum Allah." He said, "I am warning you and I'm giving you admonition about those very same things which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has admonished me about. Then the Holy Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam says it, وَالْحَاكُمْ عَمَّا نَهَاكُمُ اللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ عَنْهُ. Right? And he said, I am forbidding you from those things which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also made it forbidden for me. Right? I'm giving you some of the things. يَأْمُرُ بِالْحَقِّ وَيُحِبُّ الصِّدْقَ. I'm giving you excerpt, I'm not giving you exactly. Allah is the one who commands that we stand up for truth and we live by truth. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَيُحِبُّ الصِّدْقَ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves truth, haqq, truthfulness. And the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam stated, he said, وَيُعْطِي عَلَى الْخَيْرِ أَهْلَهُ عَلَى مَنَازِلِ عِنْدَهُ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant people stations and positions, those who do good. عَلَى مَنَازِلِهِمْ عِنْدَهُ بِهِ يُذْكَرُونَ بِهِ وَيَتَفَاضَلُونَ. And by virtue of the good deeds that you do, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will elevate your status and elevate your remembrance, and He will grant you His favors. Then the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam made a critical statement to the Sahaba, and this is the lesson that we need to learn. He said, وَإِنَّكُمْ قَدْ أَصْبَحْتُمْ بِمَنْزِلٍ مِّن مَنَازِلِ الْحَقِّ. Today, you are in a condition and you are in a position of truth, standing up for truth, fighting for truth. And then he gave the greatest warning. He said, لا يقبل الله فيه من أحد إلا ما أبتغي به وجهه. He said, all of this that you are doing, marching all the way from Medina to Badr, walking most of the way, in a state of starvation, with very little weapons in your hand, with very little steeds and horses and camels, right? Facing an army that logically speaking, you can't beat. He said, none of the efforts that you make will be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unless the intention behind it is only to see His face. You see, one is ibtigha'a mardatik. One is to seek His pleasure. One is to seek reward. The bottom level is reward. The second level is to receive His pleasure. Allah must be pleased with me. I don't want reward. It's okay if I get the reward, but Allah must be pleased with me. And there's a higher level. إِلَّا ابْتِغَاءَ وَجْهِهِ. Except to see His face. Allah. I only desire you. Not even your pleasure. I only want you. And the motivation for this is pure, undiluted love. And the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is telling them there. He said, whatever you're doing, whatever sacrificing that you make today, will not be accepted by Allah unless it is done solely seeking His face. Unless it is done only for His love and out of love for Him. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made this dua, right? And we know the rest. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Sahaba Kiram at that moment, Allah grant us some atomic particle of an atom of the love of the Sahaba Kiram. The Holy Prophet Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right, when he made this khutbah, after he made the khutbah, right, he started to straighten up the sufuf. He started to straighten up the sufuf of the army. And as he's going, the Holy Prophet ﷺ has an arrow in his hand. And with the softer part of the arrow, the Holy Prophet ﷺ just straightening up and whatever it is there. One Sahabi, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, is standing. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ sees that he's out of line. So the Holy Prophet ﷺ takes the arrow and takes it and, like pushing him into place, he puts him with the arrow on his belly. His name is Sawad, radiallahu ta'ala. Sawad stands there and says, Ya Rasulullah, you've hurt me. You've hurt me. And it was obvious that the Prophet didn't hurt him. But he made a fuss. You hurt me. Other Sahaba Kiram are getting upset at this critical juncture. Here you are, and you are screaming, the Prophet of Allah has hurt you. So Sawad says, Ya Rasulullah, you've hurt me. The Prophet said, well, what do you want? He said, I want retaliation. I want retaliation. The Prophet took off his jubbah. He took off his jubbah, exposed his blessed belly, and he said, well, take your retaliation. Allahu Akbar. Sahaba Kiram are still upset. How can this man do this? He's retaliating, he is the Prophet of Allah. Sawad comes there, the Prophet takes off his jubbah, exposes his blessed belly. Sawad comes there and he kisses it. And he places his face on it. And he moves away from it like this there. And he comes back, he said, Ya Rasulullah, Wallahi, I know that these are the last moments in my life. And the last thing that I want to experience in life before I die is that my skin must touch your skin. Allah asks us that He knows he's going to be a Jannati. Before his first drop of blood falls on the ground, he will see his abode in paradise. But Sawad, he knows the value of the skin of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. He said, the last thing that I want is that my body must just touch your body. He said, that's all I wanted. And he was martyred. Right? Another example is of the uncle of the Holy Prophet Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When the Quraysh came, they said, we will not fight with the Ansar. We will not fight with the people of Medina. They are not our equals. Bring our equals out. Bring our equals out. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, he said, Ubaidah, the eldest, he was in his 80s. He was in his late 70s or early 80s. Ubaidah, go out. Hamza, go out. Ali, go out. All three go out and face off against three of the kuffar, Walid and so on. Hazrat Ali destroys his opponent. Hazrat Hamza destroys his opponent. Ubaidah destroys his opponent. But as he falls, this man then takes a swipe against the leg of Ubaidah radiallahu ta'ala, the uncle of the Prophet, the grandson of Abdul Muttalib. Okay? He takes a swipe against Ubaidah and he cuts him here. He cuts him so badly that his marrow literally shows. I think he must have cut one of the main valves or whatever he said. And blood begins to flee out, gush out. Hazrat Hamza and Hazrat Ali pounce on him because it was 3 against 3. They pounce against him and they send him to hell. But Ubaidah, the uncle of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, in his late 70s and 80s, is lying there. And while this melee is taking place, he's not bothered about anything. He's not bothered about the pain. He's not bothered about anything. The Holy Prophet ﷺ said, "Oh Ali and oh Hamza, bring Ubaidah to me. Bring Ubaidah to me." When they bring Ubaidah to the Holy Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet ﷺ took his foot out and did this, extended his foot ﷺ. Ubaidah, the uncle of the Prophet of Allah ﷺ, comes and he places his head on the foot of the Prophet of Allah. On the foot of the Prophet of Allah. And in that condition, the man is dying. He's got his last moments. Do you know what he does? He sits there and he recites the poetry, what we call today Na'at, in praise of the Prophet ﷺ, which Abu Talib had recited. And he said, "Kadabtum wa baytillahi nubti Muhammada." He said, you are liars if you ever thought that we would forsake Muhammad ﷺ. You are liars. He says, I am proof of it. Today, when I die, the last pillow that will be my pillow that I rested on will be the foot of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. And when I meet my Maker, I meet my Maker in this condition where Malakal Maut will see me, that my head is at the foot of the Prophet of Allah. That is how I die. Allah. There's a very nice line. Let me see if I can remember it, right? I can't remember the exact word, but the words are like this one here. He says, at the time of my death, right, if my head are at the feet of the beloved Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then he says, "Qaza se keh do ki ek pal abhi qaza na kare." He says, at the time of my death, if my head happens to be at the feet of the Holy Prophet alayhi salatu, then tell qaza, death, that at that moment, oh death, don't make time qaza. Don't waste time. Take my right there. Okay? So he says, I swear by Allah, and we swear that you are liars, that we will never forsake the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, Wallahi, we are there in this condition today that we will live for him and we will die for him. As he's leaving, he read these few lines of poetry of Abu Talib. And his last moments are left, and he looks at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he says, Oh Prophet of Allah, Ana Shaheed. I am Shaheed, aren't I? Am I not a Shaheed? The Holy Prophet ﷺ looked at me and said, Ashhadu, I testify, Annaka Shaheed. I testify, O Ubaidah, that you are a Shaheed. Allahu Akbar. This is Badr. This is the power of dua. This is what is lost in the Muslim Ummah. Tears are lost in the Muslim Ummah. You must seek the refuge in Allah, min ayni la tadma, in eyes that don't weep, out of the love of Allah, fundamentally. It's lost in the Ummah today. What has happened to us? That our du'as are never accepted anymore. What has happened to us that we globally make dua continuous and may Allah, inshallah, accept our dua. But what has happened to us that our dua is not accepted anymore? I want to give you one hadith of the Holy Prophet Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, and then I want to give you what Waliullah said. Imam Ibn Hajar Asqalani narrates it. This hadith is of Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And we ask ourselves, there's the power of dua in Badr, and there's the condition of the Muslim Ummah. The way we see it right now. Millions of us, billions of us in number, and our du'as are not being accepted. Why not? The Holy Prophet ﷺ gave one of the primary reasons. You see, the Holy Prophet ﷺ, it's a long hadith. The Holy Prophet ﷺ said, وَقَالْ وَذَكَرَ الرَّجُلُ يُطِيلُ السَّفَرِ أَشْعَثَ أَغْبَرَ يَمُدُّهُ يَدَهُ إِلَى السَّمَاءِ. He said, the Prophet ﷺ gave the example of a man who's on a long journey. And you know the journeys of those days weren't in our fancy planes and whatever it is. It was in the desert sands. And the Prophet ﷺ stated, he gave the example of a man on a journey. His hair is disheveled. His clothes are dust laden because of travel. And he's making this dua in the state of traveling, with thirst and hunger and whatever it is. And he says, Ya Rab, Ya Rab. He's making the dua to Allah. Ya Rab, my Lord, my Lord. And the Prophet ﷺ says it. But when he's making the dua, what is his tongue? What is the condition of his? What is his external, internal condition? وَمَطْعَمُهُ حَرَامٌ. But he's making a dua in a condition when what he has eaten is haram. وَمَشْرَبُهُ haram. And what he has drunk is haram. وَمَلْبَسُهُ haram. And what he wears is haram. وَغُذِيَ بِالْحَرَامِ. And he's been nourished by haram. Meaning he's earned unlawfully. He's consumed unlawfully. He's become haram from top to bottom. So no matter how much he may stand there outwardly in a disheveled state there and making Ya Rab, Ya Rab. Or maybe we standing in front of the Holy Kaaba, in front of the Multazam and making Ya Rab, Ya Rab. Because he's been nourished inwardly and outwardly by haram. How will his du'as be answered? How will our du'as be answered when we are engaging in haram 24/7? When we are not even bothered about distinguishing between halal and haram. Eating food is one thing. Your earnings, the fruit of your earnings, of your labor is all haram. The transactions that you engage in are haram. The relations that you engage in are haram. The partnerships that you have are all haram. And then you expect, why are my du'as not being Ya Rab, Ya Rab? And if you now quantify this to the entire Muslim Ummah, and see the condition of the people there. You want to know now why, with the 1 billion Muslims throughout the world, they're all making dua for peace in the Muslim world and for victory in the Muslim world there. Billions can't come up, obviously there's no chance about it, to the dua of the people who are tayyib, who are pure. فِيهِ رِجَالٌ يُحِبُّونَ أَن يَتَطَهَّرُوا. People who should stand in Masjid al-Nabawi, who love to be purified inwardly and outwardly. Right? This is our problem. Sultan Ibrahim bin Adham radiallahu ta'ala anhu was asked, he said, why is it? Allah said, "Ud'uni astajib lakum." Right? Make dua to me and I'll respond to you. They asked Sultan Ibrahim bin Adham, why is it that our du'as are not accepted? Sultan bin Ibrahim radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, he said, your hearts have become dead due to 10 things. I'm going to go very, very quickly. He said, number 1, you have known Allah, that He is your creator, He is your Lord, you worship Him, but you have not fulfilled His right. Ittaqullah haqqa tuqati. Be conscious of Allah as it beholds you to be conscious of Him. Then he said, you have read the book of Allah, but you do not abide by it. You read the book of Quran, mashallah, but no one lives it. We just make tilawat of it. Living it, out of the question. He said 3, you proclaim enmity of shaitan. Shaitan, inna shaitan insani aduwwun mubin. A'udhu billahi minash shaitan rajim. You proclaim that he's your enemy, but you made him your guardian and your protector. He's with you all the time. Waswasa. Do this. You made him your guardian, you made him your protector. Then he said, you claim love of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but you left his sunnah and his tradition and his path. Then he said, you claim love of paradise. You want to all go into paradise. You love paradise, but you didn't work for it. Then he says that you claim fear of hell, but did not renounce omitting sins. And you did not renounce committing sins. Carry on committing sin, but no, I'm fearful of the fire of hell. But you're still committing guna. And then he says that you claim that you believe death was a reality, but you didn't prepare for it. Right? He says you busied yourself with the faults of others. Faults of others, but neglected your own. And then he says that you ate from the sustenance that Allah provides you, but you show no gratitude for it. And then he said, finally, you bury your parents, you bury your dead ones, you bury your close ones, but you took no heed from it. Didn't take a lesson from it. You want to know why du'as are not being accepted? You want to know why du'as are not being accepted? Wallahi, I just watched it now to confirm what my suspicions were. You know what it is? Towards the end of the second khutbah in the haram of Makkah, where the Quran was revealed, in the haram of Makkah, the Imam stands there and he makes dua for all of those soldiers who are on the borders, protecting the Saudi state. He's making dua for them. Those same Saudis there who are blanket bombing Yemen. Why? In the name of protection of state, self-preservation, or ideology, or whatever it is. Right? Where there's an impending famine, where we are voluntarily fasting there, they are not even allowing food to go into Yemen. And you want to know why du'as are not being accepted? When we're making du'as against one another, because of our hatred for one another, because of our love for our own authority and our own position and our own sovereignty, to hell with those people. Right? Whether they die, whether they starve, as long as our kingdom remains, everything will be fine. What is this? How are du'as going to be accepted when you see people like the Grand Ayatollah of Iran, right, engaging in a mating dance with the Americans right now and selling his soul to the Americans, all in the name of political expediency? How do you expect du'as to be accepted when Prince Walid bin Talal, inspired by the month of Ramadan, pledges $32 billion of his money to help the poor and the needy and for upliftment projects in particularly his hometown Saudi Arabia? This is not Saudi bashing, I'm telling you fact. Saudi Arabia, 32 billion, he will give it away in charity. But towards the end, he says that I'm pledging 100 Bentleys for those Saudi fighters who are bombing the people in Yemen. 100 Bentleys for them. You know why? Drive straight to hell. At least you'll go in comfort. That's a nice way of saying, go to hell. But he said, I'll give you 2 Bentleys. Really, how are du'as going to be accepted? How are du'as going to be accepted when we can't distinguish between friend and foe? It's become so difficult today. People are taken away by the so-called Daesh, and they want to join them. We read this morning's article. Muslims from South Africa are some of, are some of the largest numbers of people that are going away to Syria to fight with ISIS. When ISIS is in bed, read up on it. ISIS is in bed with Bashar al-Assad. Right? And you get Hezbollah and all these political parties like Iran and so on, supporting this butcher called Assad. They forget about human rights violations. And you know the sad part is that when we see all of this maiming and this destruction and this punishment and this wanton killing by people, people actually still go out there and, there was a letter written by Taliban. They had a few differences of agreement between Baghdadi and Taliban. I read it last night. They wrote a long letter to him there, right, telling some of the errors of his ways. But when they start off there, they said that this is their letter to Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, Hafizahullah. May Allah preserve him. What enmity this is, man? Really? Our du'as will be accepted. Will our du'as be accepted? Can we make an unqualifying du'a with zero hatred in our heart? Can we make an unqualified du'a for every single Muslim that you should regard as a Muslim because you don't know in what condition you're going to die in? With purity of heart. Can we make the du'a? Can we make du'a for Islam and not for our own personal power politics? Not about maintaining the sovereignty of the so-called Islamic Republic of Iran or the so-called Saudi Arabian Kingdom or whatever it is there. Can we make dua over our ideology that this ideology must prevail and that ideology must prevail and that ideology must be destroyed? Can we make dua purely for Islam? Can we make the dua? Can we see the powerlessness in our duas right now? There's only one way to empower it. That is to make dua with absolute sincerity, right, of heart, in terms of the best for the Muslim Ummah, as it behoves Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Can we make that one degree of sincerity of dua? Because the Prophet said, whatever you do, the Prophet of Allah told the people of Badr, if it is not done, illa ibtigha wajhuhu, except seeking His face, then your amal are not going to be accepted. Allah give us the tawfiq in hidayah, inshallah.